Welcome to our presentation on the present tense, part 2. We'll look at two very common subtypes of verbs that we encounter in Dutch and how we form their present tense. The first kind of verb we'll look at here is geloven geglopt. These are verbs whose infinitive end with a W and an E. Now in Dutch, there's a very regular alternation between the sound V, represented by W, and the letter B. Basically, that sound, if it's before a vowel, will be a W, a V sound, but everywhere else, it'll be a B sound. In this word itself, geloven geglopt, we can see that the infinitive ends with an E, so that sound is a W or a V sound there, geloven. But in the past participle, where it ends with a T sound, that sound is a B, geglopt. So we get a W before a vowel. Everywhere else, it's going to be the sound B or B. So how does this play out in the present tense? We know to form our present tense, we take our infinitive, geloven, and we drop the E. So the E at the end there is going to disappear. We see our endings of the present tense. So in the ich form, where there's no ending, that V or B is no longer before a vowel, so it's going to be the B. In fact, in our present tense, we see that the only place that sound, that B or W sound, is going to be before a vowel is in the ma and C, they forms. So in the first person plural and in the third person plural, these are the places where it's going to be a V sound because our endings are E. So here is how our verb geloven looks like in the present tense. Ich glob, du globst, sie globt, ma geloven, die globt, sie geloven. The V sound that we see in the infinitive has changed to a B everywhere except before that ending E. Ma geloven and sie geloven. There's a really similar pattern in this kind of verb here, stay, staan. Now in dictionaries, this kind of verb, they usually don't put that little superscript N that I've put in here in stay, staan. Usually they just end the infinitive with an H. And that's your clue, the fact that it has no E at the end, just has this H. That's your clue that it belongs to this category of verb. I like to put a superscript N up there, not because that's ever written, because it isn't ever written, but as a reminder that this kind of verb is going to do something special. And what it's going to do is, in the present tense, it's going to add an N before any vowel. Now, like we saw with geloven geglopt, there are only two places in the present tense that end in a vowel, have a vowel ending, and that's the first person plural, ma, and the third person plural, sie. So the ma form and the sie plural form. As a result, stay, staan in practice looks like this. Ich stay, no ending. Du stehst, our regular ending st. Sie steht, our regular ending t. Ma stehen, we add an E, and because we're adding a vowel, we put in that little N. Ma stehen, die steht, and sie stehen. Because we're adding that E, we throw in the N before the vowel. So that extra N only belongs to this subcategory of verb where the infinitive ends in an H, stay. I like to throw in that superscript N to remind you, when you add a vowel, you're going to write that N, nowhere else. In this week's vocabulary, we have lots of very common Dutch verbs most of which belong to one of these two subcategories we've seen. So geva, to give, belongs to that category like glava. Let's go through them. Geva, glava, geglopt, glava, geglopt, hava, got. Notice the strange pronunciation there, perhaps slightly confusing pronunciation of that past tense. Got. Hava. Got. Now we've seen the present tense of that one already, and it's very irregular as the ich hab, du hast. I'm putting it here too, so we have the other forms of it as well. Schrijven, geschriven, schrijven, geschriven. Stay, staan, stay, staan. Remember that asterisk indicates that it usually forms its past tense with a form of ich bin. So for example, I stood, ich bin staan, or he stood, is staan. Sei gewest. This is the verb to be. It's extremely irregular in the present. We say ich bin, du bist. I'm giving it here so that we know the infinitive form, sei. In Lancaster County Dutch and in Old Order Mennonites here in Berks County, rather than gewest, they usually say grest, almost with an R instead of a W sound. Grest. Versteh, verstaan. Versteh, verstaan. Die Kuh, key. Remember, when we have a noun, the second form is our plural. Die Kuh, key. And we wrap up this week with one of the ways you can say the equivalent of bon appetit in Dutch. Ess dich satt. Literally, this means eat yourself satisfied. Ess dich satt. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and mach's gut.